Police officers have one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, so sometimes things get crazy and they need a helping hand. From good cops getting bad cops arrested, to inmates helping cops break into a car, to even a crazy lady who shot at cops from the back of a police car. These are the craziest cop moments we've ever seen. A family called the police in Oklahoma for a domestic disturbance call. Once on the scene, they took an angry young woman into custody for everybody's safety. Cops thought the best place for her was in the back of a patrol car, but that turned out to be a mistake. While police were talking with her family, the woman slipped her cuffs underneath her and was able to grab an AR-15 rifle from the back of the cruiser. After taking a minute to figure out how the gun works, the crazy lady started letting off shots, hitting one of her family members and an officer.
Ow! What was that? Man, Danny, I'm hit right here. Yeah.
Once backup arrived, the police were able to arrest her. Thankfully, both people she shot survived their injuries. Getting shot at by a handcuffed woman is something these officers really didn't think could happen, but an officer assaulting one of their own is next level. During a traffic stop in Florida, responding officers were having a hard time restraining a suspect. The man is pretty hard-headed and won't listen to officer instructions even in the back of a police car. His attitude made one of the arresting officers so angry that he threatened to use excessive force and mace the dude.
Look at me! You wanna play games? You're playing with the wrong motherfucker! You gonna mace me?
That's when a female officer on the scene stepped in. She tried to calm the sergeant down by grabbing his duty belt and pulling him back. It seems like the right move, but it just set the sergeant off even more. He whipped around and grabbed the woman cop by the throat, pushing her back with his hand around her neck.
Don't ever touch me again.
Sir.
Get the off me.
Sir.
Later, that same sergeant would get charged for assault because of his temper tantrum. An officer choking out their partner isn't something you see every day, but this next story about prison inmates saving the day is something out of a movie. A father accidentally locked his keys and his 1-year-old daughter inside his car and had no choice but to call 911. Luckily for him, officers were already nearby with some interesting backup. Not far from the scene, local prisoners were picking up trash. Officers brought them to the locked car, and the inmates used their unique skill set for something good. The prisoners did not want to break the glass and hurt the baby, so they used a coat hanger to get in. They got the door open in under 2 minutes.
Yes, thank God. Woo! Thank you so much.
Nice job, boys.
And thankfully, the baby was unharmed, just a little frightened about the whole situation. Prisoners rescuing a baby from a car is crazy, but Grandpa saving a criminal from getting shot is even crazier. Grandpa thought it was just a normal day at the library with his granddaughter until he stepped outside and came face to face with a wanted criminal. Sean Briggs was fleeing police for an unknown offense and started to pull out a gun from his pants. At that moment, Grandpa decided to act fast and save the day. With cops hot on the bad guy's tail and guns already drawn, Grandpa stuck out his leg and tripped the criminal. Not knowing Grandpa was a kung fu master, the suspect and his gun flew face first into the pavement. Police were right behind him and made the arrest instantly. Later on, the Columbus police chief said that Grandpa saved the lives of innocent bystanders and even the bad guy, since officers were just seconds away from firing their own guns.
You're lucky you dropped that gun, man. Boy, you almost got shot. Let's lock those cuffs.
An old man saving the day is pretty crazy, but a father in Florida is forever in debt to officers after they saved his son from a car thief and kidnapper. It's never good to leave your car running or leave your kids inside the car alone, but one dad did that exact thing and left his son in his trunk while going into the store. That's when a thief came by and saw a perfect opportunity. He quickly jumped in the truck and sped off while the kid's father watched in horror. Thankfully, not long after, officers spotted the truck. When they came up to the window, the thief tried to say the truck was his. Luckily, the boy knew what he had to do, and he started screaming that the thief was not his dad.
These not your car? Step out of the car.
The officers soon realized what they were dealing with and started trying to get the man out of the truck while making sure he wasn't going to speed off with the boy. Eventually, the cops managed to pull the man out and take him to jail. The boy was shaken up from the incident, but wasn't hurt. Unfortunately, the same can't be said about this next criminal who got tackled after sucker punching and robbing a helpless old man. It was a normal afternoon in LA. An elderly man was just enjoying his lunch along Hollywood Boulevard when a homeless teenager approached him. Without warning, the teenager sucker punched the old man and took his wallet. The thief thought he could make a clean getaway, but karma had other plans. The restaurant owner saw everything happen and ran after the suspect. He then tackled the teen to the ground and they started wrestling. The owner's girlfriend even got in the mix by standing on the robber's legs. When the teen kept resisting, she started to kick him until the police arrived. The thief was arrested and the old man got his wallet back. The teen clearly thought he could get away, but didn't make it far at all. This next criminal nearly managed to escape the LAPD after he tricked him. In a real-life game of hide-and-go-seek, a car thief almost won. After LA officers tried to make a traffic stop on a stolen car, the carjacker took off. Thankfully, he didn't get very far before crashing his vehicle and fleeing on foot. Officers were hot on his trail until he dipped behind a blue sedan and crouched down as LAPD ran by. Almost in a scene out of a movie, police could be seen running by as a news helicopter tried desperately to contact them.
Yo, come on, guys, he's right there. The officer's running right by him. They're going right by him. Angie, our pilot today, talking on O2, trying to tell the officers that this suspect is right there.
Unfortunately for the thief, officers soon realized their mistake and circled back to arrest him. Even though it would have been crazy for the criminal to pull it off, the LAPD saved the day once again. A criminal using a simple idea to get away didn't work out in this case, but for an inmate in Arkansas, he fooled sheriff deputies by pretending he couldn't walk. Sheriff deputies in Little Rock thought it was just another normal day at the courthouse. They were escorting a criminal in a wheelchair into the courthouse who had been arrested the day before and claimed that he had neck and back pain. Hospital employees told the deputies that the man needed to be in a wheelchair before further evaluation, but clearly this was just part of his plan to escape. As deputies were about to enter the courthouse, the criminal in the wheelchair jumped up and ran away. While most people would stand there in disbelief that a man who could not walk just hopped up and ran away, this deputy did not. Quickly reacting, the deputy hopped over the railing and chased after the suspect. Unfortunately, the bad guy had just enough of a head start to get away, but just after a few hours on the run, the criminal was caught again. Hopefully this time, he won't trick anyone into letting them use a wheelchair. This next officer nearly lost her life on what she thought was a normal traffic stop. On a dark country road, a female officer stops to check out a suspicious vehicle. After questioning the man about what he was doing, she ran his name through the DMV records database. As you can probably guess, the man gave the officer a fake name. But instead of realizing the danger in the situation, the officer calmly asked if he had something else with his name on it. Within seconds, the man pulls out a gun and sticks it in her face. The officer grabbed the guy's gun and screamed for her partner to help. For what seems like a very long 20 seconds, the two struggle over the gun while she begs for him not to shoot her. The cop's partner came to the rescue, letting off shots and killing the suspect. Later they figured out he was the prime suspect in a home invasion that left an 88-year-old man dead. But unfortunately, having crooks stick guns in officers' faces doesn't just happen in the country. It happens in big cities too. A San Antonio police officer stopped a pickup truck for a traffic violation. The officer noticed the man swerving and assumed that he was drunk. Officers deal with many DUIs, so it should be pretty routine, but this stop was far from that. After asking the man where he was going and what he was doing, the officer kept getting conflicting answers. The driver was clearly nervous and kept stuttering over his word. The cop smelled weed and told the driver to get out of the truck, but the man was not listening. The officer was pretty distracted with the whole situation and didn't hear the passenger ask the person in the back seat a few times for a gun. Eventually, the passenger gets handed the gun and lets off a shot, hitting the officer in his right hand and radio. The officer starts shooting back as he retreats to his patrol car. Since the officer was hit in the right hand, he was having trouble operating his gun and accidentally dropped his magazine after the initial shots went off. Since the passenger's bullet also hit his radio, there was no way for the cop to call for backup.
Shit, call the police, call the police! My radio's down! Tell them my radio's down!
Luckily for the officer, a good Samaritan saw the whole thing go down and called 911. By the time help arrived, it was all over for the bad guys. Despite the cop's injuries, he managed to take out the driver and passenger. A female in the back, who originally handed the gun to the shooter, was also hit once but survived. The officer could have easily lost his life that day, but he stayed cool and did what he was supposed to do. The same cannot be said for these next officers, who went completely against the law after they decided a woman's fate through a coin flip. Two Georgia officers pulled over a driver for going too fast. The female was going over 80 miles per hour on a tight country road, and after getting pulled over, she quickly apologized and said that she was late for work.
The ground's wet, it's been raining, you're going over 80 miles an hour on this type of a road. That's reckless driving, ma'am.
The excuse meant nothing to the officers, and they went back to the squad car to decide what should be done. The officers clearly saw the woman speeding, but didn't get it on radar. The officers weren't sure if they had enough evidence to arrest her for reckless driving, so they decided to flip a coin to decide whether or not to book her. Heads, and they would let her go with a warning, but if it was tails, she was getting arrested.
Okay.
This is tail, right?
Yeah, so really.
23.
Michael Jordan? Hi. So I got too fast for, let me write this down.
Too fast for conditions.
Is it reckless?
Yeah, you can do reckless, and then speeding.
Unfortunately for the girl, it landed on tails. At the time, the woman had no idea a coin flip had decided her fate. It's unclear how the footage got released, but once it did, the woman had all the charges against her dropped. The chief of police put the 2 officers on administrative leave, but it's unclear how else the officers were punished for this crazy yet stupid move.